Have you ever found yourself caught in the frantic rhythm of life, constantly chasing the next thing, the next goal, the next accomplishment, the next purchase, always feeling like you're running on a deficit? There's a quiet anxiety that often hums beneath the surface of our modern lives, a persistent whisper of not enough. Not enough time, not enough energy, not enough resources. This feeling is precisely what makes an ancient story, one you may have heard dozens of times, so utterly radical. It's the story of Jesus feeding a crowd of thousands with just a handful of food. Many have analyzed this miracle, but today, here at Dawnlight Devotions, we're not just going to retell it. We are going to zoom in on a single, almost missed action Jesus took before the miracle ever happened. An action that modern psychology is only now beginning to prove can fundamentally rewire our brains. And by the end of this video, you will understand not just the spiritual importance of this act, but also its practical, psychological power to shift your own mindset from a place of scarcity to one of profound and resilient abundance. The revolutionary act of preemptive gratitude. Let's set the scene. The original account describes a massive crowd, about 5,000 men, not even counting women and children. They're in a remote place, the day is ending, and they are hungry. The disciples, ever the pragmatists, see the problem clearly. Immense need and virtually zero resources. They have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fish. It's a mathematical impossibility. This is the very definition of scarcity. It's a moment of panic, of desperation. And what does Jesus do? The Bible tells us in the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 19 through 21. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Did you catch it? Looking up to heaven, he gave thanks. This is the pivot point of the entire event, and it's so easy to read right past it. This wasn't a casual, polite thank you. This was a profound, defiant act of faith. In the face of overwhelming lack, Jesus didn't plead. He didn't bargain. He didn't complain. He expressed gratitude. Imagine the disciples' confusion. Thanks for what, Lord? For this hopelessly inadequate meal. For this impossible situation. From my perspective, this isn't just a simple prayer. This is what I call a theology of defiance. Jesus is defying the reality of the situation. He is choosing to align himself not with the visible scarcity, but with the invisible abundance of God the Father. He is thanking God for the provision before the provision is apparent. This connects powerfully to a very modern field of study, positive psychology. Researchers like Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading expert on the science of gratitude, have conducted numerous studies showing that the practice of gratitude is one of the most reliable methods for increasing happiness and life satisfaction. When we consciously practice gratitude, our brains actually change. We release more dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitters, and we reduce the stress hormone cortisol. So, when Jesus looked to heaven and gave thanks, he wasn't just performing a spiritual ritual. He was engaging in an act of profound psychological and spiritual power. He was modeling a principle that science is now affirming. Gratitude is not a response to a positive outcome. It is the very thing that can create a positive outcome by shifting our entire state of being. It pries our focus away from what is lacking and anchors it to the source of all abundance. Overcoming the anesthesia of the everyday. Of course, it's one thing to talk about gratitude in the face of a looming miracle. But how does this apply to us in the non-miraculous rhythm of our daily lives? The original message I drew from touches on this by warning against a dangerous trap: complacency. It's easy to become accustomed to God's blessings, to the point where we stop seeing them as blessings at all. They just become the background noise of life. The fact that you woke up this morning, the clean water from your tap, the food in your fridge, the people who love you. The trap isn't that we become ungrateful, but that we become numb. It's a kind of spiritual anesthesia. The Apostle Paul understood this danger. He wrote to the church in Colossae, in chapter 3, verses 15 to 17. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to which also you were called in one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. And whatever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Notice how be thankful is woven into the very fabric of a healthy spiritual life, right alongside peace, wisdom, and worship. It's not an optional extra, it's a core component. This reminds me of a powerful lesson from a completely different source, the 2013 film, About Time. The main character, Tim, discovers he can travel in time. Initially, he uses this incredible power to fix big mistakes and create perfect moments. But the most profound lesson comes from his father, who reveals the true secret to happiness. He tells Tim to live every day twice. The first time with all the ordinary tensions and worries. Then, the second time, to relive the exact same day, but this time to simply notice. To notice the sweetness of a shared joke, the warmth of the sun, the beauty in a mundane interaction. This is a perfect modern parable for what Paul is talking about. We don't need to time travel. We just need to fight against the anesthesia of complacency. We need to intentionally relive our day through the lens of gratitude, to notice the small things. For it is in these small things that the steadfast love of the Lord is most consistently revealed. The profound gratitude for unanswered prayers. Now, we move from the gratitude we can cultivate by paying attention to what is perhaps the most challenging and mature form of gratitude there is, being thankful for the closed doors. Being thankful for the prayers that were met with silence. Being thankful for the no. The video that inspired this reflection makes a powerful point. God's love is not a vending machine. We don't insert a prayer and get exactly what we want. The author notes that if God gave us everything we ever prayed for, especially in moments of high emotion, some of us would have destroyed ourselves. In the same way, a loving parent won't give a child every piece of candy they scream for. God, in his infinite wisdom and love, protects us from our own short-sighted desires. This is where faith transitions from being transactional to being truly relational. A transactional faith says, God, I will thank you if you give me this. A relational, trusting faith says, God, I will thank you because you are good, regardless of this outcome. How many of us can look back 5, 10, or 20 years at something we desperately wanted? A specific job, a particular relationship, an outcome we were convinced was the only way forward. And now, with the clarity of hindsight, we breathe a sigh of relief and thank God it never happened. I know I can. That rejection was a redirection. That heartbreak was a protection. That failure was a lesson that set me on a better path. This concept of a severe mercy is beautifully illustrated in C.S. Lewis's world of Narnia. Specifically in his book, The Horse and His Boy. The main characters, Shasta and Bree, are fleeing for their lives. At a critical moment, they are chased by a lion, roaring and terrifying, driving them through a pass they would have never taken otherwise. They see the lion as a mortal threat, a terrible beast. It's only at the end of their journey that the great lion, Aslan, the Christ figure of Narnia, reveals the truth. He tells them, I was the lion. The very force that terrified them, that seemed to be their enemy, was in fact their savior, driving them towards their true home. This is the perspective that gratitude for unanswered prayers gives us. It allows us to look back at the lions in our own lives, the frightening circumstances, the painful rejections, and consider the possibility that they were the very hand of God, guiding us, protecting us, and pushing us towards a destiny far greater than the one we would have chosen for ourselves. To be thankful for that kind of love requires immense trust, but it is a trust that brings a peace that circumstances cannot shake. It's a gratitude that's not dependent on getting what we want, but on knowing the one we belong to. So, as we bring our reflections to a close, we can see that the journey of gratitude is a rich and layered one. It begins with the defiant faith of Jesus, who gave thanks in the face of scarcity, proving that gratitude isn't a reaction but a creative force. It grows through the mindful awareness we cultivate in our daily lives, fighting off the numbness of complacency to see the wonder in the ordinary, just like rediscovering the beauty of a day lived twice. And finally, it matures into a profound trust, where we can even thank God for the closed doors and the unanswered prayers, believing that His wisdom and protection are at work even when we can't see it, like the unseen lion guiding us home. This isn't just about counting your blessings. It's about fundamentally changing the lens through which you view your entire life, your past, your present, and your future. I hope this exploration has encouraged you today, not with the pressure to suddenly become a perfect beacon of gratitude, but with the invitation to start practicing it as a tool of faith and resilience. Maybe it starts simply by ending your day naming 3 small things you're thankful for. Or maybe it's taking a moment to look back at a past disappointment and asking, where might God's protection have been in this? The foundation of it all is the unwavering truth of God's character. The reason we can be thankful in all circumstances is because His love is not circumstantial. As the prophet Jeremiah wrote in a time of great sorrow, in Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. His love doesn't run out. His mercy has no expiration date. It's new for you right now this morning. And for that, we can always give thanks." Now, I would be so honored to hear from you. This is a conversation, and your wisdom enriches this community. Is there a closed door or an unanswered prayer in your past that you are now incredibly thankful for? Please share your story in the comments below. Reading your experiences is truly one of the great joys of making these videos. And of course, if these kinds of deep dives into faith and life resonate with you, please consider subscribing and pressing the notification bell to join our Dawnlight Devotions family. We'd love to continue exploring together. Thank you for spending this time with us. May your heart be filled with thanks, and may you see the evidence of His new mercies all around you today.